The courtroom was thick with whispers, the kind that crawl up your spine and make you feel smaller than you already are. All eyes were on the trembling widow standing before the judge, her clothes worn, her hands clutching a faded envelope. She wasn't supposed to be there. Not in a place where power and money decided who was right. The judge leaned back, smirking, tapping his gavel lazily against the table. "Mrs. Daniels," he said mockingly, "you're telling me your late husband's house was stolen by the company he used to work for? You have no lawyer, no proof, and yet you expect justice?" A few people in the gallery snickered. The widow swallowed her tears. She was alone, or so everyone thought. But none of them knew that outside those courtroom doors, the sound of heavy engines was drawing closer. Sarah Daniels had lost everything in a year. Her husband, Tom, had died in a construction accident, one that the company called unfortunate but unavoidable. When she demanded his unpaid wages and insurance, they gave her silence. Then they took her home, claiming it as collateral for a debt she never owed. With no family, no lawyer, and no money, she had only one thing left: her husband's old leather jacket, and inside it, a photograph of him standing proudly with a group of bikers from his old club, the Iron Brothers. The day she walked into court, she had already made peace with losing. She just wanted to tell her truth before the world crushed her voice completely. The judge interrupted her again, his tone sharp and dismissive. "Mrs. Daniels, this is not a charity. Unless you can present proper evidence, I'll have to rule in favor of the company." His words hit her like stones. She looked down, her lips trembling, trying to speak, but her voice cracked. That's when the heavy wooden doors creaked open. Heads turned. Boots echoed against the marble floor. 1, 2, 5, 10 men in black leather jackets walked in, their vests emblazoned with the Iron Brothers logo, a silver eagle clutching a broken chain. The entire room fell silent. Even the judge's smirk faltered for a second. The leader, a tall man with gray in his beard and eyes that had seen too much, stepped forward and placed a thick folder on the table. "That's the evidence you wanted," he said in a low, steady voice. "Tom Daniels didn't die by accident. Your company cut corners. And here's proof." The judge blinked, confused, trying to regain control. "Who are you?" The biker leaned closer. "We're the family Tom left behind." The courtroom murmured in shock as the leader nodded to the others. One of them pulled out a USB drive. Another unfolded photographs showing broken scaffolding, altered safety reports, and signatures forged by the company's executives. Sarah gasped. She had begged for months for these files that mysteriously vanished after her husband's death. And now, these men, her husband's old brothers, had found them. The judge's smug grin disappeared. "Order! Order in the court!" he shouted, slamming his gavel, but his voice trembled now. The company's lawyer stammered, flipping through the documents, his face draining of color. The bikers stood still, arms crossed, their presence alone demanding respect. Sarah looked at them with tears flooding her eyes. The leader turned to her and whispered, "Tom saved my life once. Now it's our turn." Outside, reporters swarmed, drawn by the sudden commotion. The bikers' arrival had turned a simple court hearing into a storm. People who had ignored Sarah for months now couldn't stop talking about her case. Overnight, her story became a symbol for every worker who'd been silenced. The next day, when the trial resumed, the evidence was undeniable. The company's CEO tried to settle, but it was too late. The truth was out. Sarah won not just the case, but her dignity. The court awarded her the full insurance payout, her home, and public apology. When the judge read the verdict, he didn't look so amused anymore. Us. She walked out of the courtroom. The bikers surrounded her like silent guardians. The leader handed her the leather jacket she'd left on the table. "He'd be proud of you," he said softly. She smiled through her tears. "No," she whispered, "I'm proud of him, and of all of you." Outside, the engines roared to life again. The Iron Brothers rode ahead, their motorcycles gleaming under the afternoon sun, and Sarah followed behind in a small pickup truck. She looked at the courthouse fading in her rear-view mirror, the place where they had laughed at her. But no one was laughing now. Weeks later, Sarah used part of her settlement to start a small foundation in her husband's name to help widows of workers who'd been ignored or mistreated. The bikers helped her run it, showing up at hospitals, construction sites, and shelters, lending their strength to those who'd lost theirs. In the end, her story wasn't about revenge, it was about justice finding its way back, even when the road was long and broken. And sometimes it takes the roar of engines and the loyalty of brothers to remind the world that the poor and forgotten are never truly alone. Because when the world turns its back, family rides in no matter how late, no matter how far.